Good evening. Welcome. My name is Beandrea. I'm a film programmer here at the UCLA Film and Television Archive, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to the home of our programs, the Billy Wilder Theater. Um, some of you know I like to do a little query in the beginning sometimes. How many of you are UCLA alums in the audience tonight? Okay, all right. Give it up for the alumni. Thank you for being here. And how many of you, is this your first time here at the archive? Okay, I love that. Awesome. Well, welcome. And also welcome to our returning visitors. Tonight's program is amazing, and you're really very smart to come tonight. So I just want to welcome you. Tonight's program is called This Bitter But Beautiful Earth. And it's the first screening in our two-night series toward a more perfect rebellion, multiracial student activism at UCLA. And tonight's program begins with 5 short films, running approximately 80 minutes total. And then we'll take a brief 10-minute intermission, followed by a Q&A with some of the filmmakers that are here tonight. And this is going to be moderated by our series programmer, Professor Josslyn Luckett. Yes, let's clap for Josslyn. And we will end the evening with a wonderful documentary called A Crushing Love, and that runs for about 58 minutes. So don't leave after the Q&A. You are in for a treat. We save the best for last. Okay, so let me do a little bit of housekeeping, and then I'll bring Josslyn up to formally introduce the program. This free screening and all of our year-round public programming is made possible by the generosity of an anonymous donor and our partners here at the Hammer Museum. I want to give a special thanks to the community partners who've supported this event, UCLA Center for Ethno-Communications, of course, and that's in the Asian American Studies Center, and the UCLA Chicano Studies Research Center for their ongoing support as well. I also want to give a huge shout out to the wonderful archive staff, many of whom are here tonight. Truly, none of the programs would be possible without our entire team. I'd also like to acknowledge any of the board members of the archive who are maybe in the audience tonight, as well as thank specifically Maya Martinez Smuckler, who is the person who pitched this idea to our programming team. So this wouldn't also have happened without Maya. And thank you all, team, for being there. Let's give everyone a round of applause. So in terms of housekeeping, you're welcome to take photo, video, have your phone out during this portion, but not during the films. And before or after, but just not during the films. We ask you to really put your phones away and just be here present in the room. And if you'd like to share about your experience tonight, you can tag us at UCLA FTV Archive on social media. That's UCLA FTV Archive. Bonus points if you put the location as the Billy Wilder Theater. Plus, you can learn more about our upcoming series at cinema.ucla.edu, as well as sign up for our wonderful newsletter. And if you're on Letterboxd and you know what Letterboxd is, leave a review. Mention you saw tonight's program here, because that helps kind of spread the word also. So let me introduce Josslyn. Josslyn is the guest programmer for this series. Josslyn Janine Luckett is the author of Toward a More Perfect Rebellion, Multiracial Media Activism Made in LA. It's a dynamic history of UCLA's ethnic communications program, whose participants transformed American film culture in the 1970s and beyond. For this groundbreaking work, she received the inaugural Advocate Award from Dean Celine Perenia Shimizu, Dean Celine, UCLA's TFT 2025 convocation. She's an Associate Professor of Cinema Studies at NYU and a contributing editor at Film Quarterly, and she also serves on the National Film Preservation Board of the Library of Congress. A former staff writer for The Steve Harvey Show and Queen Sugar, she also wrote the original teleplay Love Song, directed by Julie Dash for MTV. She holds degrees from UC Berkeley, NYU, Harvard Divinity School, and the University of Pennsylvania, and she's currently researching a book on the life and career of director Stan Lathan. Now, when I started reading her book, which some of you bought and got signed out in the front, I flipped to the acknowledgments page first, which is something I typically do when I read books. And I saw that her acknowledgement page there were 8 full pages long. And that's really rare in a book. And that told me immediately that Josslyn is someone who is generous, deeply rooted in community, and a joy to collaborate with. And I was absolutely right. Working with her on this program has been a true pleasure. And her scholarship really unlocks like a crucial missing piece of LA's independent film history, and her passion for this work is really infectious. So without further ado, let's welcome Josslyn to the podium.
You guys caught that Beandrea's last name is July, and I just keep vibing on hotter than Beandrea July. You know, I'm a Stevie Wonder person. Welcome, everyone. It's so good to have you here. This is such a special night, and the fact that it's finally arrived. My hope, once finishing the book, was to bring it to this place first, so it's really wonderful. I'm just going to give some brief comments to kind of contextualize the films that you're about to see. So, the program in this film school on this campus that came to be known as the Ethno-Communications Program in 1970 was a pilot affirmative action program. I said it, affirmative action program, initially organized by Scottish film chair Colin Young and directed by the first Black film professor hired at UCLA Film School, Eliseo Taylor. They began meeting in the 68-69 school year as the Media Urban Crisis Committee, MUC, named such because the University of California president Charles Hitch had recently called for every school in the UC system to come up with programs to address what he called the urban crises impacting communities of color in the wake of the assassination of the King assassination and rebellions in cities like Watts, Newark, and Detroit. The first class of the MUC program, and one of the original Mother Muckers is here. You'll hear from him in a little bit. Raucously called themselves the Mother Muckers. And they included filmmakers like Moctesuma Esparza, Richard Wells, Brian Maeda, Luis Garza, Sandra Sunrising Johnson, later Osawa, Yasu Osawa, and the late Danny Kwan, to name a few. This initial group played a role in recruiting the subsequent classes who came in the fall of 1970 when the name of the MUC program became the Ethno-Communications Program. These student filmmakers were also helped by a small handful of film students of color who had enrolled before the program. And that includes students like Sylvia Morales, who you'll hear from later, and graduate teaching assistants David Garcia, Charles Burnett, and Betty Chen. The ethno filmmakers' body of work, filming their communities with love, care, and nuance across this city and county from Compton to Boyle Heights to Little Tokyo and even Westwood, changed the face of filmmaking over the decade of the 1970s and beyond. One more time, the filmmaking produced by these UCLA filmmakers of color deserves to be centered in any study of American cinema, especially any study of the so-called 70s picture, a decade that dominates film studies and countless Cinematheque retrospectives of American cinema across the world. Now, for clarification, the Black filmmakers coming out of UCLA were, in the mid-1980s, referred to by Dr. Clyde Taylor as the LA Rebellion. He wrote about and passionately programmed the Black diasporic women and men from UCLA, including Julie Dash, Haile Garima, Billy Woodbury, Barbara McCullough, Alili Sharon Larkin, Zenabu Irene Davis, who you'll see tomorrow, and who's here tonight. And thankfully, these filmmakers, in large part due to the earlier efforts of Taylor Tony Cade Bambara, Intangela Masilela, to Show Me Gabriel, and then decades later, efforts from this archive and new generations of scholars like Alison Nadia Field and Jacqueline Stewart. These filmmakers have had an extraordinary kind of resurgence and renaissance since the retrospective that took place here in 2011. So that's so important, and it's such a beautiful kind of circle to be back here 15 or so years later. So when I was a graduate student catching up with this rebellion resurgence, I started to wonder, but what about the Asian American filmmakers? What about the Chicano and Native American filmmakers? They were showing up in the margins, but I wanted to know more. And I'm an ethnic studies graduate from UC Berkeley, so my professors would be rolling in their graves if they knew I didn't do that comparative cross-racial analysis. So that became my desire to expand the conversation and looked cross-racially at these filmmakers who worked together, trained together, crewed sometimes together, and took stands for each other's causes in that decade. And that became the idea of this More Perfect Rebellion, a wider rebellion that remembered the multiracial insurgent roots of the original ethno-communications program. So tonight we'll get to see the fruit of those roots in this selection of films, and also tomorrow night I hope you can come back. And that's all I want to say right now, because we can discuss the films afterward. But I do again want to thank the archive for welcoming here, especially to Maya, from our first conversation, and May, and my partner, Beandrea July. We have had such a good time putting this together, so I hope you enjoy. Thanks. Welcome back, everyone. Should we begin? Let's begin. I can't wait to ask these questions and talk with you all. One more round of applause for these amazing films. Oh gosh, I felt so choked up to see them all. So much of my viewing has been in the library at Powell on a teeny little screen. So to see them up on the big screen is so wonderful. I wanted to first, here, let me first introduce you all. I guess you could also say your own names, but to my right, Moctesuma Esparza, who produced the first film, Agueda Martinez. And then Sylvia Morales, whose film we're going to see shortly, in 28 minutes, Crushing Love. And then Jeff Furumura, who I don't think I said much, that you just watched about Elmer, and the Gardner Elmer. And it's amazing because I just learned that Elmer's granddaughter is here today, and got to see the film and hear her grandfather's voice. I mean, that just chokes me up. We're also really privileged to have Susie Wong, the actress from Sleepwalker, in the midst. So it's a real Wong family night because we got to watch her father in Wong Sinsaang, her brother Eddie Wong's film. We're so sorry Eddie couldn't be with us tonight. He's having some health issues, so please lift him up. But let's get started. First, if the three of you could just tell us how you got to UCLA, how you first decided to pick up a camera at UCLA. Want to use your mic?
Oh, yes. I said I'll start. I dreamed of going to UCLA. It was the only school I applied to. I didn't know that you were supposed to apply to many schools in case you didn't get accepted. So when I was accepted, I started crying. And it's just because it's, in my mind, it was the best place to go to learn how to make motion pictures. So I had dreamt of going there, and so I finally, it was great. It was wonderful when I found out I did go. I mean, I was accepted. Aren't we all happy when we're accepted?
Yes. You made the dream come true. I love that. What about the two of you?
Oh, I was a political
can you
activist.
use your mic?
I was a political activist, so I was. I viewed going to UCLA as an opportunity to go make trouble.
Good trouble.
So Um, at the time that I participated in the creation of Ethno-Communications, I was out on bail on 2 grand jury secret indictments, facing life in jail. So I was one of the members of the East LA 13, and I was also one of the members of the Biltmore 6, which was more serious. That was 20 to life that we were facing, and I was on trial for pretty much my entire undergraduate career, 3 years. So I didn't think of it the way that perhaps people who applied to film school, were really
Right.
wanting to get in there, and I didn't really have any intentions of being a filmmaker.
Okay.
Not until I went to grad school.
Okay.
And in grad school is when I decided that there was an opportunity for me to make a difference in terms of my social conscience and commitment to a political movement. And that was to devote myself to changing the image of Latinos in Hollywood through film, and by exploring what it is to be human, and thereby hopefully humanizing and being committed to fulfilling my commitment.
Jeff?
Yeah, my name is Jeff, and let's see what made me pick up a camera. I was interested in black and white photography, still photography, and at the time I was admitted into the ethno program. Excuse me, I was working as on the staff of the Ghidra newspaper. I don't know how many people
People
here
know
are
what
familiar
Ghidra
with that.
is? Yeah, some.
Oh, there's some
some
Ghidraistas
hollers.
in the audience. But I liked photography. I wasn't really good at it, but it was something that I felt I could do. And I could control the entire process from beginning to end, since the Ghidra office had a darkroom inside of it. So black and white was my thing at the time. And I never thought I would ever get into the UCLA film school. It was kind of this exclusive repository of privileged folks who, wouldn't accept people like myself. But I think it was, I forgot. Somebody encouraged me to try out. Somebody at the study center when the program opened up, and all I had as a portfolio were my black and white photographs. And I'd recently done something for my sister who's in the audience out there, for the UCLA educator. And I just happened to have this one black and white shot that ended the entire edition that particular quarter. And I think it was the strength of that one photograph that got me into the program.
Wow.
Somebody recognized it and attached me to that photograph. So I thank my sister, who's out there someplace,
Nice,
for
nice.
giving me that chance. But yeah.
I love the whole, oh, I'm sorry. Continue.
Well, I want to just add a little footnote that that was the only film I made in film school, because I had to come back after dropping out in my senior year, thinking that the work that I was doing in the community at the time was more important than going to film school and being one of these privileged kids with a camera. So I dropped out in my senior year, and then I came back to finish once I felt like, okay, I want to be a teacher. I was pulled into social service through my work with the ABC program out at East LA.
Say what the
Cal State
ABC program was.
LA.
What was
Asian
the
Black Chicano Pride
Asian Black
program.
Chicano.
Yeah. They had a little lesson, a curriculum. They developed social studies curricula for people like ourselves. And we field tested it in public schools. And one of the lessons was on perspectives. And every time I see films like these, it reminds me of that particular lesson, because it started out with a lesson about how a son is asking his father on why, I think it's why, Father, does the lion die in every story that I read. And the father replies to his son, "Son, the story will always end the same until the lion learns to write." And I look at people like Bob Nakamura and Betty Chen, who were my advisors during that Project One film. And they're the people who trained a lot of the filmmakers attached to visual communications now, who they're doing that, you know, they're writing that story now, so, and still doing it, so.
I love that. Yeah, this is so important because this weekend, some of you may know, and some of you may even be here for the anniversary of the Asian American Studies Center at UCLA. So it's really important to recognize that all of these films and film students were coming to the campus at the same time of the emergence of the Chicano Resource Center, all the ethnic studies centers, the Afro-American Center back then, the American Indian Center. These were all coming on campus, and those centers were very much supporting these students in their endeavors and really kind of raising hell when it looked like the filmmakers weren't getting enough support. So it's a really important, fertile time on the campus, and not just in the film school. So, but now we are here 50-something years later. What's it like to look at these stories 50 years later? And across these films, there's so many interesting themes, even though stylistically they're quite different. What was it like for you, for the two of you, 50 years later, to watch these projects, and your reflections too, Sylvia, about what it is to look at these works largely made 50-ish years ago?
Well, you know,
Microphone.
what was really nice, besides seeing them, I've never seen any of these films, by the way, but I recognize all the names. Betty Chen, I mean, she was the best cook. She was a gourmet cook. Bob Nakamura, you know, and just all the names that all these people I hadn't seen and haven't seen for a long time. But the films themselves, the thing that I noticed, and I'm sure everybody else did, is the preponderance of identity and wanting to be recognized, acknowledged through your family, something so basic, and they're very emotional, because I could feel the filmmaker's pain, actually, and so I was very happy to get to be exposed to them after all this time, and having not seen them at that time. And I wondered, why didn't I see these films during the time? Because I know all these folks. Yeah. And I guess we didn't always share everything we were doing.
Right, or some of you were already off working in public affairs television by the time some of the rest of them were.
But 70s, I think I
still
left
on campus?
I think I might have left in 72 because I was pissed off, but I came back in 78 to do another one, to do finish my graduate work, actually. But I was very annoyed with a lot of things and the system, and I just kind of dropped him. Went and joined a rock and roll band.
Woohoo!
So, anyhow, that's it. Which one? It was called The Last Woman's Rock and Roll Band. And there were like 4 congueras. I was one of the lead singers, and I played the bass on one number because that's what I learned. But we did community music. I mean, we did original music, and we'd go to the communities. We'd be invited to universities, and we'd get paid, which was really nice. But we were, kind of wild, and that was a lot of fun. And then I came back to making movies.
So what do you want me to address?
What was it like to look at Agueda Martinez, for example, now?
I was deeply moved remembering her. She's 77 in the movie. I'm 76.
Wow.
So I haven't caught up to her yet. And I was struck by the aesthetic that Esperanza created. It's all her aesthetic. She directed it, she cut it. I did produce it, it was my concept, and I raised the money and did what producers do, and did the sound work, and I cut the audio tape.
Oh, okay.
So her entire narration, I did that. And then Esperanza cut the movie to it, which was really profoundly moving to me, that she was able to pick the images and create a tempo and pace and mood that carried her life story. And for me, that movie is joyous, right? Because it actually presents a living culture that had energy and drive and hundreds of years, if not thousands of years, that could represent that land.
Those of you in the audience who are familiar with Haile Garima's Ashes and Embers, you might see some real similarities between the grandma in that figure and Agueda. I in fact noticed they had the same hat, and they have almost a similar monologue in the film about the earth, producing the food, and everything is healing from the earth. And so it just started to make me really look at how these I would call them the relationality between the films was so profound that everyone was really trying to honor, as you said, that their elders, the earth, ritual, all of these things. So, but anyway, I don't want to keep on. But I just thought it was really, go see Haile Garima's Ashes and Embers if you haven't, and then think about how similar the two grandma figures are.
Tonight was the first time I've seen the film on the big screen.
Wow.
Since it was shown in its original Super 8
Oh my gosh.
format in Melnitz Hall. But I just wanted to capture Elmer as the person that he was, and to kind of juxtapose, how other people from the outside just kind of wrote him off. And I feel as though there's some relevance to that film and what's going on our streets today, with people getting, hoods thrown over their heads and shoved into cars by masked people, and the outrage that I feel when seeing that, and other people can so easily write these individuals off without really feeling a sense of outrage at what's going on, not just morally, but legally and everything else. It's just insanity, kind of what's going on right now. Anyway, the film, seeing it tonight, I felt just so close back to Elmer, and I miss that guy. I worked with him the summer before, and some of the background, most of the yard work that you see being done is in Debbie Reynolds' house, her backyard. I don't know what happened to that Dalmatian once we opened the gate. I don't know if she ever found it again, but because I didn't close the gate behind myself. And then the dialogue that was taken verbatim from Elmer's mother, but my mother had to read it, and then my sister who's in the audience did the translation over that. And then
Beautiful.
My father read the words of the attorney whose Rolls Royces and other 15 cars he had in that lot of his. Those are words that my father is reading.
I felt so choked up, and I talk about it in the book. I watch Elmer and his life, and then I watch Chinatown, and I think about the Gardner figure, who is so pivotal actually in Chinatown if you go back. But but again, he's dismissed. He's almost a joke. Like it centers around him misspeaking a word. And then you look at that lawn. You look at Evelyn Mulray's lawn. That's perfect and enormous and goes for miles. And that labor made that happen. So that's something that I've been trying to work on in the book, to really think about, like, the Los Angeles that we see in these films really speaks to that Hollywood that we see, that is just, ends up being about Faye Dunaway instead of all the other figures in the film. So anyway, read the book, buy the book.
I really related to the rocks
Yeah.
because I love rocks. And I know my children have made fun of me when I've said, no, leave my rocks. Don't you dare touch my rocks. So it was like, oh, rocks. Yes, I can relate to that. So that was wonderful. I just love that.
I think we should go out to the audience. We have about like 10 minutes or so to take a couple questions from the audience, if there's any. And I think we might have a microphone also too. Anyone have a question? Yeah.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Christian. I'm an undergraduate in UCLA's Ethno Communications program, and I just want to give you all your flowers. I've seen these films before, and it's a big reason why I became a filmmaker. I came to UCLA because of the LA Rebellion movement, and because I saw those films when I was 13. I saw Killer of Sheep, and I study under Colleen Smith right now.
Fantastic.
But I just want to say thank you so much. Everything you guys have done has impacted me as a filmmaker, and it became the reason that inspired me to pick up a camera, because when I watched your films for the first time, I'd seen people who looked like me, and I'd seen stories that resembled my own, and I just want to say thank you. So I really appreciate your work. Thank you for being here tonight.
That's great.
May you make many movies. Oh, did you hear that? May you make many movies.
Is there anyone else? Anyone else have a question, comment?
Well, go to my theater, please. Milagro Cinemas in Norwalk.
Oh, I've been there.
It's an 8-plex. It's beautiful. Tell them about it.
It's one of the few places that you can get Spanish subtitles.
Ah, that's so good.
So you can see bilingual. You can see it bilingually. You can see Spanish speakers can see movies.
We have 8 screens, and we do everything. So Monday nights, we have comedies and romantic comedies. Wednesdays, we have horror films. Thursday, we have classic Hollywood.
Nice.
Sunday, we have inspirational films. Wednesday night, we have a free classic Mexican movie.
Fabulous.
We showed The Blue Demon and Dracula with this past Wednesday. And we have First Run Hollywood, so you can go see Tron if you want. Nobody else did, but you can.
Ooh, ouch. Any other questions? I'll ask one more. Okay. Wait, can we wait to the microphone?
It's quite affordable. My theater is very affordable.
How much?
Well, the classic movies are $5, right?
yes.
And family is $7 on Tuesdays, and First Run Hollywood films are $13. And you can also have street tacos and burritos and quesadillas and esquite and a michelada or a beer or wine or a cocktail or a margarita to enjoy your meal. So there's my commercial.
Very nice. Wow, yeah, you need to program some of these films there.
I was
I'd
thinking about
help
it. I
you.
was reading here
I'd
that
help you.
Yes, we need to. I
Okay,
just got
let's
my
talk.
nonprofit.
Ooh, let's talk.
Yeah,
about
yeah.
that.
The
That sounds
Milagro
great.
Cinemas community nonprofit is just got its letter. It's
Oh, fantastic.
Yes,
All right, so we'll
good.
have a part 2, I hope. Here's a question. Yes. Oh, can we wait for the microphone? Ms. Wong.
Hi.
Hi.
I just want to say that in many of the movies, we see an era that is no longer here. I mean, so many of the people who were gardeners, my dad, the laundryman, those businesses or professions, if whatever you want to call them, have gone by the wayside in many ways. And so in a way, these movies are important to preserve the story of that period of immigration and of labor. And no matter what ethnic origin the story is about, it really honors labor. And I think that there's something very grounding about that. Even though it's not romanticized or respected in the greater society, this work was what made us have our lives today.
That's
So
right.
thank you to the filmmakers, and and I know that there will be other stories that talk about other traumas and other dramas that are current to this time, but you're telling the story of your time when you pick up the camera.
So good. It's such an important visual archive of our city and like as you said, that era. And those three center films also have such moving portraits of fathers, that you have either, even if in the scripted film of The Horse, you have a sense of the boy having to see what kind of labor his father had to have. And then with Elmer and also with your father, sons and the younger generation grappling with what it meant for their fathers to have to endure such racist, hostile environments in their labor too. I mean, the masterpiece ultimately becomes Killer Sheep, I think, of that too. But these earlier pieces, I mean, that's what I think is really remarkable, is that these earlier shorts are really getting at that same, a lot of those same issues. In such beautiful ways, and cross-racially too. So that's, again, the thing that's important to me is just the chance for a night like this where we get to think about our city and who makes up the city, and how important it was for each of the communities to be telling the stories of their elders, of their space, of their land, like Barbara's film. And so it's just so touching to me, actually, to watch them back to back. So I thank you. I think we're about to wrap up, but if there's any final word any of you would like to share, and then also final word about this panel, and then I'd like to give the mic back to Sylvia to introduce the film that we're about to watch. Yeah, let's just see. Any other final comments?
Well, I'm just happy to hear that ethno-communications is still happening.
There's a new, thanks to Bob Nakamura, who in the 90s brought the Center for Ethno-Communications back to campus. He was insistent. I think he got tired of the film school and wanted to do something a little bit different in Asian American studies, and that's great. But I will also say that, in my interview with him, he did kind of regret that it wasn't as multiracial as the original Ethno-Communications. It became more multi-ethnic, showing many more stories of the vast Asian diasporas and vast ethnic groups. So that's one thing, and I always hope that students of ethno-communications now make sure they understand this history from the 60s, because I've had people come up to me at conferences and say, oh, I never knew it was multiracial. So make sure you share the word about what happened in the 60s, young man.
So I'll take ownership of that, okay, because I'm the one that created the original curriculum and organized the sit-in in the dean's office until that was approved. And there were 4 African Americans, 4 Native Americans, 4 Asian Americans, and 4 Chicanos, right? And that was the group. And we strove to keep it that way while we were still there. But it came out of a sit-in. We occupied Colin Young's office until he said yes.
And he did, thank goodness.
Didn't take long.
right?
That's what organizing will do. I mean, that's
Exactly.
great that that you were an organizer, because most people don't know about things like that. And if you know about organizing, then you can organize something like that, and you did, and that's fantastic.
Oh, that's a perfect segue to the women in your film.
Okay. A Crushing Love is about a middle-aged woman who is struggling because she's raising her 2 adopted children. She's not totally happy in her teaching job because she doesn't have enough time to do the thing or the work that she loves to do. And she realizes at some point, it takes a while. It takes a while for her to realize that there are women who she admires who are doing what they love to do, and they too are mothers. And she doesn't understand, how do they do it? So they must have a secret. And she decides to explore it by making a documentary. And it's called A Crushing Love. And that title is taken from Zora Neale Hurston book. I believe the title of it was "And God Was Watching Them."
Yeah, their eyes were watching God.
Okay, thank you. And she uses that term in there. She's her main character has left her community, and she's gone off with this wild man, and she's wild too, and she loves him. She misses her community, and she loves this man, and she feels like she's experiencing a crushing love. And that's what this woman, I really related to that very strongly, because the children, they're loved. She loves the students. She likes the students in the school. She doesn't like the teachers.
Yikes.
And she wants to do the work that she wants to do, but she can't, or is not able to, or maybe she doesn't have the vision, whatever. But that's what she's feeling, a crushing love. By all the things she loves, they are crushing her. So that's what A Crushing Love is about, and I hope you stay to see it.
All right, we're going to get into it right now as soon as we walk off this stage. Thank you so much. Love for the panelists.